Experiencing beauty can bring us great pleasure.
So first experience of beauty is to stop and want to linger in it. Secondly, you realize that the reason you're stopping, the reason you're lingering is that it gives you pleasure. It's a kind of deep delight.
The pleasure that comes from the beauty experience starts in the orbital frontal cortex. So it's the part of the brain right here. But the pleasure principle has to involve also the limbic system. So that's the emotional center of the brain. And also the brainstem. When we have beauty experiences identified as minimally pleasure experiences, there's a positive affect that occurs in the brain. That positive affect releases hormones. When we're in the midst of a beauty experience, we're experiencing a sense of pleasure. And that sense of pleasure is understood in a very large category. It can be a titillation of the senses, seeing a bright color so it pleases the eye. If you're looking at a sculpture and you're touching it, it pleases the sense of touch. So it can be pleasure in that way, but it can also be an intellectual pleasure.
The interesting thing about this pleasure is that the pleasure it gives you seems incommensurate with the object itself. Why should a tree, why should a flower, why should a little kid, why should a landscape make me so joyous? It seems completely out of proportion.
The spirit comes in like the wind and moves you, brings you out, and therefore beauty sometimes is equated with the most intense experience of beauty, which is ecstasy.
It can flash out, it can flame out, as the poet Gerard Manley Hopkins said, and shock and even disturb, but at the same time draw us in, make us riveted.
Beauty brings us to knowledge via pleasure. Beauty speaks to us in the fullness of our humanities, in the way that mathematics or philosophy or analytical reason don't. These are all powerful ways of knowing and expressing the world, but I don't think that they're as universally attractive as beauty. Beauty leads us to knowledge through delight.
Unlike most of our experiences, the experience of beauty captures us in our entirety. It captures us emotionally, psychologically, intellectually. It's auditory, it's sensitive, sensible. We're always confronted by another dimension that's brought together in a single experience.
And it speaks to us as incarnate human beings. It speaks to us as people who think and feel and imagine and remember, experience sensorily and intuit what we are and the world around us. And that is the power of beauty, is that it speaks across humanity in a way which I think is universally attractive.
It just enriches your life. And there's beauty in so many things, so many visual things, but there's beauty in music. I mean, I also sing, so I have the joy of being in a choir and singing incredible music that's been written by people, you know, centuries ago and now, and to make that sound with a group. You know, the other night we had a rehearsal, and at one point it was like all our voices were just this ethereal. The sopranos were just this ethereal note. And afterwards I said, "Oh my God, did you hear that? Did you hear what we just did?" And everyone's like, "Yeah, I know." I said that. And I went into that rehearsal, I was so tired. And I went out so elated and so effervesced it somehow energizes people, or at least me. When I am part of something beautiful, when I create something beautiful, when I see something beautiful. It just makes me feel alive.
I remember right now in a moment in my life when I'm sitting on a log and I'm watching the waves hitting the shore, and then suddenly my focus on the waves now brings me into another experience where I see the waves, but I'm in touch with a spiritual meaning of the waves. It's water, the sound touches me, the waves are hitting the shore, but I can, in my poet mind, see wave as an expression of love that comes from someone else. I see wave as an expression of love that comes from divinity. I see the wave touching my heart. I can remember a moment when that was so powerful for me, that moment of meditation, that I couldn't handle it and I fell over because I was so caught up in that wave. And as I fell off the log and hit the ground, I was just laughing and I'm saying, I'm just full. I am full. I am at peace.
So the experience of beauty first draws me into a deeper reality. So to that extent, I would say the experience of beauty is highly transcendent in nature. In that it takes me out of myself and introduces me into a bigger whole of which I am a part. So I belong to it, but I'm not it.
I try to set myself up every day, trying to have no thoughts, trying to open myself up completely. And then I do have, on a good day, the experience of something coming through me. Some of these paintings happen so spontaneously that I can't even believe that I did them. I have to give credit to something larger than myself, whatever that may be, or the largest part of myself, whatever that might be, because it's so easy, it's so natural. I barely had anything to do with it. I was there with the materials, I was there with the brush, I showed up, and through me comes this process. It is extremely mysterious, and it doesn't happen every day.
It's bigger than me, I can't control it, and at the same time, I'm drawn into it.
And so we need this in our lives. And at its best, I think it opens us up to deeper truths about the world.